There was a story coming out from Jadeveon Clowney's camp that it would be a joke if he even thought to go to the New York Jets for even a year with a contract with them. And I think it's hilarious because Jadeveon Clowney, who I do not want, by the way. Everybody that knows me as a Jet fan knows that I do not like Jadeveon Clowney. I think he's an overrated pass rusher. If you look at his career as a player in the NFL, this is a guy that they were trying to compare him to Lawrence Taylor when he came into the league. He's been in the league for how many years? Is it 7?
I think it's 6 years.
6 years, and he only has 32 sacks. Okay? This is a guy that was compared to Lawrence Taylor, and he's not even one of the best pass rushers in the league. And the thought on Jadeveon Clowney coming to the New York Jets, to me, only sentences us to a crazy year with a guy that not only is outspoken. We were talking about Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams is an outspoken player. Jadeveon Clowney is going to cause a lot of trouble, not only in the locker room, to the press. I think Jadeveon Clowney should stay into a small city and not, because if you put him with the Jets, you put him in New York, he's going to cause nothing but ruckus in that locker room with the young kid like Sam Darnold, with a young offensive line, and what the Jets are trying to strategically try to grow as an organization.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because there's other pass rushers on the market. We brought up Everson Griffin yesterday if they wanted a cheaper option. If they want to trade some of the draft picks, they have leeway now with what they just got for Jamal Adams if they want Yannick Ngakoue. And Clowney, even though I think he is a very well-rounded player and he's a talented player, he's been injury-prone. And, again, that's been a concern of why he only has those 32 sacks in his career. And in 6 years, where, again, you would expect the top pass rusher to have probably close to 50 or 60 at that point in his career going into 6 years. So it's definitely an interesting task. We'll see if the money falls, because that's going to be another big thing. And Joe Douglas, we've seen him so far. He's trying to go for smart contracts and not just pay guys huge money.
Well, a smart contract would not be Jadeveon Clowney, even though Jadeveon Clowney would only sign a one-year deal worth about probably $12 million with some incentives if he hits his totals, his sack totals, if the Jets make the playoffs, if the defense is one of the best defenses in the league, he will get incentives. But I don't want him on the team, especially when he's talking right now. Now, Bradley McDougald, who said go after him, let the Jets go after him, I don't want him. I don't want a guy that is a loudmouth. We had gotten rid of one guy. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to bring in another one? It doesn't make any sense. Joe Douglas is trying to rebuild this team from top to bottom. He doesn't want Mike Maccagnan's guys, even though Sam Darnold is a Mike Maccagnan guy. And C.J. Mosley was signed by Mike Maccagnan. So there are guys that Mike Maccagnan brought in that they still have on the team, but they're team players. C.J. Mosley is there to be a team player. Even Le'Veon Bell, he took a shot at Jamal Adams, stating that you dragged me here, you wanted me to come here because you wanted us to win a championship, and then all of a sudden, a year later, you flee? That just shows you how the leadership is in the locker room for the New York Jets. They need to rebuild that leadership in the locker room. Is Adam Gase the guy? Probably not. Anybody that thinks Adam Gase is the future coach of the New York Jets as far as winning championship after championship, that's probably not going to happen. But right now, Adam Gase is the leader of this team. And you have to wait and see what the conclusion to this relationship with Adam Gase and the New York Jets organization will be. Adam Gase never coached a good team in Miami. The team was not good.
Right.
So to take shots at Adam Gase and say Adam Gase isn't a good coach, we don't know what he is because he's never coached a team that was anywhere as good as teams, even secondary teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Seattle Seahawks. You know, he's never coached teams like that. He's never coached quarterbacks as good as Russell Wilson or a Drew Brees or a Tom Brady or any of the quarterbacks that we talk about that are top-end quarterbacks. Right. So we don't know what Adam Gase could do with a good team. So why is it that you got Jamal Adams, you got all these different other players that are no longer with the New York Jets organization saying that Adam Gase is a joke? We don't know what he is.
I think a lot of it has to do with a lot of the player relationship stuff more than anything else. It seems like Adam Gase a lot of his players in Miami, they did well the 1 year, and then they got annoyed at him, and then they eventually got traded and didn't really like it. Jay Ajayi, remember Jay Ajayi, his first year, he was phenomenal. I think he was like the second or third leading rusher in the league, and then all of a sudden, the next year, he has a down year, and he ends up traded to the Eagles, and they win a Super Bowl with Philadelphia. Jarvis Landry, the same thing. Devontae Parker, we've seen it in a lot of different instances, and I saw something on Twitter about 6 months ago or something like that. A lot of the players have done well in other spots as a result. So I don't know what to believe with Adam Gase. I agree with you. I don't think he's a great coach. He's probably like an average coach or something like that.
We don't know what he is,
right.
So we can't judge him. Why? Because we saw him in Miami, and by the way, he didn't even have a starting quarterback. Out of the 46 games that he coached the Miami Dolphins, he might have had a starting number one quarterback for 21 games. Right. And he had a winning record with his starting quarterback. So we don't know what Adam Gase is. And when Sam Darnold came back in the second half of the season, he had one of the best records in football for a quarterback. So we don't know what exactly Adam Gase is as a head coach. And I'm not saying that he's a great coach. I don't know what he is. Right. So all the Jet fans and all the analytics and all the analysts that are saying that Adam Gase is a joke, well, again, he right now on paper and what his record shows, he's a joke. But that doesn't mean that he's not a good coach. Is he a quarterback whisperer? I don't think he is. I mean, there's a lot of people that think like Bruce Arians was a quarterback whisperer. But Jameis Winston really didn't develop the 1 year that he was there. No. So we don't know.
Jameis Winston is
Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston was a number one pick. And say whatever you want, he's got talent. And Bruce Arians, you say how great Bruce Arians is, he couldn't really redevelop Jameis Winston, a guy that was a number one pick. He has talent, so he couldn't do that. And everybody says he's a quarterback whisperer. So we don't know what exactly a quarterback whisperer is in the NFL. And is it Adam Gase? On paper, he isn't. Okay, he just isn't. But again, we don't know what the Jets are going to be, and we don't know what Adam Gase is as a head coach, as a guy, a leader. But again, Jamal Adams opens his mouth, and everybody wants to flee and say, Jamal Adams is right. Jamal Adams is right. We should have kept Jamal. We don't need a guy in the locker room like a Geno Smith, a Jamal Adams, or any of these guys that have come in and out of the New York Jets organization in the locker room, Brendan Marshall, that causes trouble off the field. I don't want a guy like that. And if I was the leader, I was the head coach of the New York Jets, I would be absolutely saying sayonara to any one of those players, which he did to Jamal Adams. Now, there is a story, and I do want to read this Bleacher Report story, and I'm trying to get it up right now because the computers are very, very slow, and I want to get the full story, the full article, so I can read it off to you guys. Right over here. Jets Adam Gase on Jamal Adams trade. We want guys that want to be here. Jamal Adams didn't want to be here. Jets anymore. Didn't want to play for the Jets anymore. So Adam Gase didn't want him there either. We want guys that want to be here, and he didn't want to be here anymore. Gase told reporters Tuesday. The Jets traded Adams and a 2022 fourth-round draft pick to Seattle in exchange for 2 first-round draft picks in 2021, 2022, and a 2021 third-round pick and safety Bradley McDougald on Saturday. Gase said no players contacted him after the trade to express their feelings. The trade came a day after Adams ripped Gase and general manager Joe Douglas in an interview with Manish Mehta of the New York Daily News. I don't feel like he's the right leader for this organization to reach promised land. Adams said of Gase, as a leader, what really bothers me is that he doesn't have a relationship with everybody in the building. Okay, so let me ask you guys a question. I know a lot of people work, they have jobs, they have leaders, they have managers, they have GMs, they have district managers. Now, everything runs to the top, okay? As much as it trickles to the bottom. Now, Jamal Adams is a leader on the New York Jets. He was a leader on the New York Jets. Now, if you are a leader, ladies and gentlemen, you do not attack the higher up people, the hierarchy of district general managers or managers. You know why? Because you can get fired. What happened to Jamal Adams? And Jamal Adams knew what he was doing. He wanted out of the New York Jets. So what did he do? He took a shot at two guys that are ahead of leadership right now for the organization. Right. Joe Douglas, who's the GM, and the coach, Adam Gase. So he knew, and everybody knew, the Jets were trying to move him no matter what. After he took shots at him, really within 24 to 48 hours, he was traded after he opened his mouth about Adam Gase and Joe Douglas.
Yeah, and it seems like, too, that, again, you can think that kind of thing all you want. And we know Adam Gase has had his issues. We know, obviously, the Johnson family now.
Every coach has their issues, right, just as well as every player has their issues on and off the field. So I know what you're going to say, Speedy, and we're going to attack Adam Gase. You want to attack Joe Douglas because Joe Douglas shouldn't have traded an all-pro player. Listen, if the all-pro player doesn't want to be there, why keep him? If he doesn't want to be there with the New York Jets, which he confirmed that last year, he didn't want to be there for the New York Jets. And this is the same guy that talked Le'Veon Bell into coming to the Jets. So if you were Le'Veon Bell right now, would you be happy? Come on. If you were in charge of deciding where you want to go and you had your pick on where you want to go, what organization you want to go to, and you chose a team because a player came to you and said, I want to win championships and I think you're one of the missing pieces that we can use to win a championship. And all of a sudden, after really one full season, he flees because he doesn't want to be there. And he pretty much told that player that he wants to be there for the long haul. As a fan, I wouldn't be happy, and I don't care what Jamal Adams says to the fans. It was very nice, very well put. He probably had it written down for the last couple of weeks. He knew what he was going to say because he knew he was going to get traded because he's been pushing himself out for the last couple of months.
And this is the problem, too, with, again, this league becoming more of a player-run league like that. You're going to have all these promises that you want to team up with each other, okay, but again, it's going to happen where if they get unhappy in a heartbeat, then it's not going to happen. Obviously, Bell run through the same thing with the Steelers. We saw Jalen Ramsey do that with the Jaguars. We never thought of it as being disgruntled with the organization for a while, and the same thing with Adams with the Jets. He was praising the Jets for much of his career and saying how he wanted to be there. New York was where he wanted to be, and all of a sudden, a switch flipped, and all of a sudden, this ended up happening. So players are very fragile with the way they want to be, and again, this is the problem with the players-run league. And
he's a crybaby.
Le'Veon
He
Bell,
is a crybaby.
As a result, has every right to be annoyed.
Everybody has a right to be annoyed. Any player on the New York Jets should be annoyed. Sam Darnold shouldn't be sitting there when they interview him in the next couple of weeks about OTAs when OTAs come around, and they're going to ask him about Jamal Adams. If I was Sam Darnold and I was the leader, I would say no comment. You know why? Because if he has a comment, I would take and rip Jamal Adams apart at every single thing that he did throughout the season last year, throwing the defense under the bus, stating really that it's not his fault, it's the defense's fault. And he didn't take responsibility at all last year for the New York Jets defense. Meanwhile, he was the leader of the defense. So again, Jamal Adams could say he's a leader, say that he's all about team and teamwork. Well, if you're all about the team, buddy, why were you telling the New York Jets, what was it, 4 months ago, that you don't want to go anywhere. You just want to be here for the rest of your career. And then all of a sudden, 2 months later, give a list of teams that you want to be traded to. Are you kidding me? If you were a fan of this organization, and I'm one of them, and I'm an honest-to-God fan, I didn't want Jamal Adams there anymore. I've been wanting Jamal Adams out since last year. I would rather pay Marcus May $50 million. First of all, I'll pay him on the cheap. I won't have to pay him $90 million, which he's expecting. And is Marcus May that much different or that much worse than Jamal Adams? My answer is no. Because Marcus May, in the second half of the season last year, if you look at his numbers to Jamal Adams, he was a better player than Jamal Adams. So the argument here isn't that Jamal Adams isn't a great player. The fact is maybe Jamal Adams wasn't even the best safety on the team.
And again, May is still a lot of upside, too. He was a young player coming out. You say it all the time, a lot of people thought he was a first-round pick that fell into the second, and I think we're seeing why because of the injuries. But in terms of
can't stay healthy.
In terms of that kind of talent, combined with the fact of what we mentioned yesterday, the safety position not being the premium position like a pass rusher or a corner, you're not going to have that mixture go into effect for a team that still needs the pass rushers and receivers, like we were saying, which are positions that get paid a lot in the NFL. Whether, again, the receiver position's as important as some others, that's a debate a lot of people have, but still, it's something that it gets paid a lot, as indicated by Michael Thomas and Amari Cooper and some of the other guys that got big contracts.
How could this make you happy as a fan? Okay? Anybody that roots for the New York Jets. Hey, how about whoever roots for the New York Giants? Notice that the Giants are not in the tabloids. They're not in the newspaper. You haven't heard anything from the New York Giants since Joe Judge took over the team. You know why? Because now silence is golden when it comes to football, when it comes to pro sports. The more silent you are, the less and better you are, especially in a press, media-oriented place like New York City.